seems legit. Legitimates, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are making the Bangle Dangle by Chris W Designs. It is so cute, and you guys are constantly asking me for a divider pocket. This pattern has one. So it's got a back zipper, an interior zipper, and the divider pocket zipper as well. It's very cute. It's got lots of cool hardware, which you can also get from the Chris W Designs website. I will put a link in the description. So if you'd like to see how to make this, please stay tuned. Alright guys, let's get started. So I'm going to try and follow along exactly in the same order as the pattern. I do this sometimes, not all the time, but today I will. So we're going to start with our strap. Let me just cut off this excessy bit here. I clearly forgot to do that. That's okay. Right. So what we need to do is grab some double-sided tape because mine is vinyl. If you're using fabric, you can just iron it in half. But I don't have that, so we'll be doing it this way. I'm going to peel off that backing, and then we're just going to bring both sides into the center, like so. So I used to do it one side at a time, but I've ultimately found with practice that this way is much quicker. So I'm just squishing and pushing together. Now this is a nice soft vinyl, because I still have to fold this in half again. But what I need to do before any of that is I'm going to fold it in half and slip on my little clip like that. Then I'm just going to stitch across here. Now it does actually say to open all the way out, but because of the type of vinyl I'm using and the fact that I just put double-sided tape there, it's not going to slide under my machine if I do that. So now I'm going to sew them down so that it's flatter and easier to work with. So I'm just going to do 1/8 of an inch from that joint. And backstitch, because we always backstitch. And then trim off the excess tails. And so now we just need to fold this in half again, and I'm going to top stitch all the way around the edge. So I'm going to go up to a 4 in the top stitching. Sorry, it's getting a bit warm in here. And then I'm just going to go on the open edge and I'm going to stitch it down. Now because I'll be going in a complete circle, I won't be back stitching, because instead I'm going to get back to the start and then go over the original stitches. Continuing around slowly. And moving the connector out of the way. Now that I'm back to the start, I'm going to go over 3 stitches and then back stitch. And then trim off all those tails. Like that. And so now we have this. So I'm going to fold this over. Now, some of you will be tempted to put the fold at that. What we want to do is we want to bring it down a little bit like this. So here's the bit, and then here's the joint, and then you can just stitch here to set it. Another thing you can do is put a rivet in it. That would also be very cute. Okay, trim. Yep. There and there. So that is my strap done. So I can set that aside, and then we'll go to the next part. Okay. So I've got it all in my tub. And as always, her patterns come with the little tabs so that you can know which one is which. So we're going to take the tab, which is this piece. So this will actually be 2 tabs. And we're going to also need our key rings. the strap. Oh no, let me find the D-rings. Ha! Here we go. Whoops. So, this is going to be our strap. Now, I'm thinking, because I'm using vinyl, I actually might cut this in half and just have a join on the inside because it's not fabric. With fabric, we would do the double fold thing, but I think it will be too thick. So what I'm going to do is grab a ruler and just cut it in half. If I could pick up a pen. So I'm only doing this because it's vinyl. If it's fabric, just do what we did before, fold it in half and in half again. But at some point it will get too thick even for my machine. So, which side do I like better? That one. It's got more gold on it. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing again. I'm going to put some double-sided tape down the center and then fold both sides into the middle. Take the backing off. Always try and keep your space clear while you're working. I'm just going to push both those sides into the middle like this. If you are using fabric, my suggestion would be to iron it. It will make it much easier for you. So now that I've folded it like this, I'm going to fold it in half lengthways and cut it in half. And then I'm going to put the join side against the flat part of the D-ring like this. And then we're going to stitch that together. So I'm going to go up, across, and down. And then we're going to do the same to this one. So again, join side on the flat side, bring it together. Needle down. I'm going to cut this one off so it stays out of my way and trim those tails just while I'm at it. And then we're going to come down and back stitch. So now I've got our two little strap connectors. Alright, now we're doing more straps. So we've got hook straps and more straps. There should be one of that and two of the shorter one. And I imagine we are now going to need this part. Just at a guess, and those. Okay. Let me just check the pattern. So we've done that. Okay, so we're going to start with these ones. And is this going to be too thick if I double fold it? That's the real question here. But I think it should be alright. So again, just judge your vinyl. This is, because it's a printed vinyl, it is a different thickness to my other one, and it does bend differently. Okay. So I'm going to peel off the backing. Now I don't have to worry about raw edges anywhere, because it's vinyl. But you might want to tuck in the raw edges of the ends if you're doing fabric so that you don't have any raw ends showing. Alright, so we're going to fold it to the center like that and then fold it in half. And I'm going to always top stitch the folded half part first. I've back stitched. Now I'm stitching along the edge. I could have also done a nice gold thread for this. That also would have looked pretty. I just ran out of bobbin thread. I heard that. Oh no, I didn't. Oh, it tricked me. It just sounded like it ran out. That's annoying. Oh well, that's alright. We'll just back stitch that last little bit. It's coming soon. I know it is. So then if you want to, you can also top stitch the other side. I'm going to. So that it looks nice. Like that. So that is now one part of my strap done. And this is going to go in here like this. So this is what we're doing. And I'm going to use rivets because I think it's going to look nice. Anyway, that's one part. Let's do the second one. And again, I am going to run out of bobbin thread soon. Okay, over and in half, like that. And then under the needle we go. So we're going to go forward, back, and then just follow along the edge of the line. And back stitch. And then swivel it around. I'm going to jump to the other side and go down the other side. So the other side doing there will also help like leave it flat as well as look nice because it's then matching. Okay, so this is what we've got. In that way, there we go. So we're just threading in the other piece. So there should be two of these. So I'm going to need some rivets. I'm going to use gunmetal because it's close to the black that the stuff is. I've got some gunmetal rivets here. So we need to fold it over and have that much fold over there. So I could even put two rivets in this. I'm going to put one here. Now the main reason I'm riveting this is because this is now quite thick. And I'm not totally confident that I could stitch through all this because of the type of vinyl it is. But I really did want to use this vinyl because I thought it would look really pretty as this bag. Okay. Yeah, see, that'll look nice. And then I'm just going to, so I'll set up that one and the next one. So I'm going to squish down, and I can't get through all those layers, so then I'm going to come open it out and do the other ones separately. And then I'm going to grab my rivet press, and I can squish that one down. And then we need to add a rivet in this side. In one half, fold it over, join it. That one's not long enough. I have different size rivets in here for when I accidentally buy the wrong size or they send me the wrong size. I personally like 9mm rivets with an 8 or 9mm post. Anything shorter than that, and I find it's not very joining. Alright, so now we've got this, which is the start of our strap. I imagine we're then going to do the middle one. We are. I'm going to take this middle piece of strap and we're going to do this the same way, and then we're going to join it so it's got everything going on, and then we can add on our swivel clips on the end. Peel off the backing. I'm going to fold both sides to the center. Like so. If you need to, you can rub this onto the edge of your table to help that crease really set in. It won't damage the vinyl as long as there's no burrs on your table. Alright. Wonder when my bobbin's going to run out. It's got to be on this one. It was not full when I started. Good idea just to keep an eye on that. To the end and back stitch. I'm going to swivel around. I'm going to jump stitch to the other side. I can trim that off later. Back stitch. Done. Middle part of the strap. So we are going to attach this to this part. Yep. You're going to put it on the blank back part like that. And then we're going to fold it up. And again, we want the same amount. So I'm just using the ruler here to measure it out. And then we're going to thread that through. So I'm making sure, the reason I'm dangling it like this is to make sure that all the joins are going to be on the same side of everything. Because that is what we want. And then there like that. Right? Let's see how we've got like a cool strap going on now. And then these ones are going to go on the end here. And then up and over like that. And then on and over like that. So now I just need to put some rivets in, and that is a very cool strap. So, back with the rivet press. Probably could have done all of the stitching and then all of the pressing, but it's fine. You have to open it up because this is so thick. I'm doing 2 halves at once and it's just not working. But it at least puts a dent in this side so that I can line it up properly. So there's one. And I can grab my rivet setting part. Now I've got 2 because of the amount of bags I make. But if you don't have 2, you can just set them up ready to go. And do all of the holes and then do all of the rivets. You don't have to go back and forth. I mainly do because it's not a struggle for me. When I just had one, I would do rivets all like in a row. So just adjust it to what suits you, really. That's what I'm getting at. So I'm putting a cap on the back of here and squishing it. Then we're going to come to the other side. I'm just moving along. And then once the strap's done, we can set it all aside. I'm going to open it out, punch that hole better. Through one half, the other half. Now it doesn't matter if you go back to front or front to back, so long as you've got double capped rivets. And by double capped rivets, I mean it's got this finish on both sides. You can get single capped rivets where the post part is hollow in the back. So just be wary of that when you are purchasing stuff. I don't offer single capped rivets on my website just because I don't really use them. But if you're buying on somewhere like Amazon or eBay or whatever, you will want to just make sure that it does say double capped and not single capped. For anyone that doesn't know that. All right, strap is done. So I can set that aside as well now. And I can move these out of my way. Pop them on the floor. I'm going to keep these close by, and I'm going to move the rivets off my table so that I don't knock them anywhere. All right, next part of the instructions. So we need a zipper. I think I'm going to go with black with gold teeth, although... No, see, that's the wrong gold. The metallic gold would be cool, but it's the wrong... Oh, actually, no, it's probably not the wrong gold. Let's do that, because that's going to look very cool. So, as usual, I have not pre-cut my zipper. I always do that as we go. I'm just going to trim it off here. Like that. And we need to put a zipper pull on, which I also have not got ready because I'm clearly unorganized today. Alright, I need to stop and get a zipper, so hold that thought. I went with Smooth Criminal because I think they're classy. And they'll go with this look. You don't want anything too bulky. I did think about getting the Tectonic ones because I am a little bit in love with the Tectonic zips that I have. But they're too bulky for this dainty bag. So instead I have gone with Smooth Criminal because I think that's going to look really nice. Okay, so zipper on. Then zipper pocket facing. So we need a zipper pocket facing. Zipper pocket facing. Here we go. Need to grab one of these. So this is my lining fabric. I never interface the facing pieces. I find they get too thick and it's just not fun to do. So we need to draw a zipper pocket, and I'm just going to use one of my templates because it's easier. And then I'm also not giving away any kind of measurements. Excellent. So I'm just going to put that in the middle or as best to the center as I can. And whoops, that did not draw anything at all. This is just a normal pen that I'm using. There you go, now it wants to work. So I'm drawing the whole rectangle. I do love these. They make my life so much quicker. Okay, so we've drawn that. I'm not going to draw the middle part because it's just not what I do. So now we're going to grab a body exterior piece. Now I didn't cut the window out of my body exterior piece because it is only fleece and I can cut it out as I go. I always personally find that when I try and line up a hole cut out of the fleece, when I do these things, it never works in my favor. And when I say never, I literally mean never, ever, ever. So we want, where do we place the foot? So I'm going to center it. If you've already cut out your zipper window, or like the pattern suggested in the cutout section, you don't need to do what I'm about to do. But I am just going to find the center of both ends because we all know that I'm going to need the center eventually. It's how I put bags together. And then I'm going to find the center of this as well, so that I can line it up perfectly. I'm going to fold it in half and snip it. And then that is going to sit there. And I'm going to use I'm not going to use Wonder clips. I'm going to use the alligator clips. Now, technically, these are hair clips. Or at least mine are. But they've got a longer section so they can hold it better. Because you want to hold this in place or it's going to slip around while you're trying to stitch it. And nobody wants that. So now I can shake it and nothing will happen. So I'm going to stitch the two long lines. I'm going to go to a joining stitch length, which for me is 2.5. So I'm going to put my needle down in that corner. I'm going to stitch I'm going to do 3 holes, which is 2 stitches, and then back. And that did not go back because the pin was in the way. Now we're going to stitch along. We're going to get to the end like that and back stitch. Then I'm going to spin it at 180 and do a jump stitch over to the other side. You can cut it off and then start again, but it does waste more thread and more time. Okay, now I've run out of bobbin thread. I knew it was coming. I got further than I thought though, so that's good. I'm just going to cut all these while I think of it. So we're going to cut that jump stitch and on the back and cut away that. So I didn't make it, so I'm going to have to pause again and get another bobbin going. So give me a second for you. And we're back. So we need to go to where we left off. You can also take the clips off now if they're annoying you in any way because it's already stitched down, so we don't even need them. So I'm going to go back a few stitches from where I've run out of thread, and then I'm going to stitch and back stitch. So that will lock both the old and the new stitches in place, and then I can finish up this line. I didn't quite make it to that corner, and then back stitch. We need to also cut off all of our tails. Now, before I cut the center, because I haven't cut this part out, I'm going to do it now. So I usually just put my snips underneath here, and it does lift surprisingly easy. Even though I ironed it down, I don't know, maybe I don't iron it properly, although that is pretty stuck. But you just slip your snips under, and you should be able to just trim it all off. I know it's not quite the same, but this is how I do it. You don't have to copy me. You can pre-cut your thing. You just need to be able to make sure that you absolutely line it up. Otherwise, you'll still be doing this anyway. So I don't want to get... Once you've got a bit to grab, it's much easier. Sometimes it's less willing to come up, but you'll find it won't be impossible. And so now I've got a hole anyway. So I'm going to fold this in half-ish. It doesn't have to be perfectly in half. The name of the game is we just need to make a snip in the vinyl and the facing. Now, so that you don't hurt this hand trying to squish it, I also apply pressure to the tip where I'm trying to cut. It means that this hand doesn't have to work so hard to squish it. So if you've got arthritis or weak hands or whatever, that I do it anyway, just so that I don't like give myself arthritis or hand problems. Because if my hands go, we can't have any more sewing videos. Anyway, so you push the tip of the scissors and it helps cut easier. Alright, so I'm going to triangle out this corner here, like so. So I've now got triangles. I like to do about 3/4 of an inch. If your triangle's too small, you'll have trouble top stitching it down. So make sure it's at least 1/2 inch, preferably more. Okay, so double-sided tape, because mine's vinyl, I can't iron this open the way I'm going to want. So I've recently discovered if you put double-sided tape right at that seam that you have stitched, go like this. And then I'm going to just push the facing through. Now you can try and finger press it a little bit. It will help, but ultimately what's going to actually help us is that double-sided tape. So I'm just pushing my thumbs in to kind of get that out. Because as you can see, it's giving us a bit of a welt pocket feel, which is not what we're trying to do. If anybody doesn't know what a welt pocket is, it's what they do in like men's suits to have that little, like, so that the pocket is technically covered by those 2 flaps of fabric. They build it in a similar manner to this, actually. All right, so now I'm going to fold the vinyl and then push it down onto that double-sided tape. So it's going to hold it exactly where I tell it to. You can rub your finger on it to really get that crease in, but you want to get right on that edge. So you can already see how the bottom is now sitting down lovely. It will still need some persuasion, and I will get my green squeegee thing and push it down in a minute after I've done the other side as well. So I'm going to pull it out. You want to crease it right on the seam and then attach it to the double-sided tape. Now you really want to use 1/2-inch tape for this. If you use a smaller one, it's potentially not going to work out the way you hoped. So now, see how it's not poking out anymore? But it's also not sitting flat. So I'm going to take my little green squeegee and I'm just going to rub it along the crease to extra crease it. This would be similar to taking it and rubbing it on the edge of a table like this. So we're just helping crease that to make sure that it's going to sit flat and beautiful. Like that. And see, no more facing-y bit popping through. And so I've done all of that. I've done that. So now we need our zipper and our zipper pocket, which is somewhere here. Here we go. This looks like it's going to be it. Zipper pocket. So you should have 4 because you have 2 facings, which means we're putting another one of these in the bag somewhere. Right. So what I'm going to do is line this up on the edge, and I'm going to stitch right on the edge. We don't want to see these stitches later because once we top stitch this in, that's what's going to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stitch 1/8 of an inch from that edge so that I won't see these in my zipper pocket, but it does still make the pocket attach to itself. So I'm going to grab this one and do the same thing. Line it up along there. So you want lining right sides up and zipper right sides up, because normally you would then put exterior right sides down. Excellent. And then, so I always like my zipper closing to the left. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open this out and then take this and lay it over the top, pulling out my little zipper. And then we're just going to stitch around here with the pocket completely flat and open like this. So I always, this is my new thing. So I only put the zipper kind of 1/3 to halfway on. And then I'm going to come in front of the zipper right here like this. I'm going to go up to it 3.5 stitch length. Now I'm not going to back stitch because I'm going to go completely around. Another option you have is that you can pull those threads through and tie them off at the back if you would prefer. And then we're going to go up and we're going to pivot and we're going to go along, needle down, zip, and along and back stitch. So I waited until I got over the original stitches before I did that back stitch because it'll hold the old lot and the new lot at the same time. So now it's on, it's attached, and it's looking fabulous. So we want to lay this down, and I'm going to cut off this excess here so that the pocket is even, like that. I'm pretty sure this is what we're meant to be doing. I really hope so. I stopped looking at the instructions. I know, we're doing good so far. We're stitching the side and the bottom. Okay, so we're stitching all the way around. I just had to check that because I thought maybe we were leaving this pocket open. So I'm going to start up at this top edge and I'm going to go down. And then needle down, pivot along the bottom, needle down, pivot up the side. And I'm about to sneeze. Hey! Oh. And then take those tails away. Ta-da! Beautiful pocket. So now we're going to take our base piece for our exterior, which is this beautiful one here. And we're going to join it along the bottom. So I'm still on a joining stitch length. I'm actually going to clip this. I know I usually don't clip things, but this vinyl is both slippery and sticky all at the same time. It is not the funnest vinyl to work with, if I'm totally honest, but it's worth it because it's pretty. And sometimes I suffer through ridiculous things because it's pretty. All right, stitch, back stitch. Off we go. And back stitch. Did that. And then we're going to do the other side. So we're going to grab the other exterior. And we're going to stitch that onto the other side of the base. And then I'm going to open those out and top stitch them flat. I always like to have the base piece facing up. Don't know why, it's just a thing. So I'm lining this up. Under we go. Stitch, back stitch. Like so. I'm going to go up to my 4 stitch length because to help remove bulk. Now if you're on a domestic you might just want to cut this off, but I'm going to instead open this out so that it's flat like this, and I'm going to top stitch both sides. You can even take this and kind of help to press it open. Now I'm using the side that's got the felt on it because otherwise this is going to get really sticky, I imagine. It was sticky before and I've decided this is probably the best way to approach it. So this is definitely domestic machine friendly because as you can see all the bulk's being kept out of your seams. So if you're worrying that you might not be able to make this, you'll be fine. So we're going to stitch and we're going to back stitch. And then I'm just going to make sure that that is sitting properly under there. So I'm doing 1/8 of an inch up that side. I'm going to spin over and come and do 1/8 on this side. So this is just going to hold all of that bulk down and make it pretty. So far, it is very pretty. You can also stick those down if you're really struggling. So if you're not making it out of vinyl, you did it out of fabric instead, you can iron this open and that will make it much easier. If you're struggling doing it this way, you can use some 1/4 inch double-sided tape and stick it down so that then it's easier to top stitch. Right. Ta-da! That actually looks really pretty. The back turned out nice. So see, these are now down flat. So when I go to sew this later, there's not going to be like a random super bulky part. And I like that. Alright. So we're going to put the twist lock on the front. So the side that hasn't got the pocket. This is our front. So here's the twist lock. I'm going to open it out like so. Try and get the prongs nice and straight. So we're going to need this part. And then as you can see, it comes in, oops, it's got a couple of parts going on. Oh, Oh, that looks like it's just going to squish together with a hammer. That's potentially very cool. I don't see any screws I have to put in, so that's a new one. All right. Anyway, moving on. We need to go from the center. See, this is why I should always find the center of things. I knew I was going to need it eventually. Now it's not marked, but that's okay, because I'm just going to take this pen and mark it on the back with a normal pen, because it doesn't matter, no one's going to see this. Excellent. So now I need a ruler. And I need to go from that seam up like that and do it there, and a vertical line, because that's now the center. Ignore the fact that it's fluffy, it's fine. And then I'm going to take this right on top of that and draw the two little lines, because that's what we're going to need to cut. If you want to, you can add even more protection by adding some more stabilizer, but because this is vinyl, I'm feeling confident it'll be fine. So I'm going to take my craft knife, blade side up, and we're going to stab it in, and the other side like that. Then we insert this part through the holes that we just cut, like so, and then put this on the back. And then I'm going to fold them out. I always like to fold my prongs out. I will show you up close in a minute, but I need to do it close to my body because prongs are a tricky business. All right, so it's installed there, and I do the prongs out. You can definitely do them in. Nobody's saying that that's right or wrong. People have different opinions. The reason I do it out is because if you did it in, they'd sit up higher because it's going to be two lots on top of each other. Whereas I find out will sit smoother and flatter. But that is a personal preference. And this black looks really nice with this vinyl. I'm happy with my decisions. Okay, so now I need to install. So we're just going to put this other part aside because we don't do that yet. That's going to go in the flap. So don't worry about that. But we're going to get this, which is, I believe, called the pyramid connector. And this, excellent. All right. I was just double checking. I'm also going to stop. You can't see it, but just off camera, I've started making a mess again, which is very naughty of me. Right. Pyramid placement. All right. So we're going to take our retrieve your pyramid connector, which is this part. So I'm going to just move this aside for a minute. I've got the pattern piece here. So there's a little guide here where I'm going to put it. On the wrong side of my exterior flap, we're going to put in this connector. Right, so it comes with this, and this kind of twists, and then these are the back plates and the screws. So I'm also going to need my screwdriver. I have an electric one, for anyone that doesn't know that. I'm a little bit obsessed with it. I love it. It's my favorite. I'm also going to grab a scrap of stabilizer. Now, all my little scrappy bits, I cut into 1-inch squares and stick over to the side, and I use these to install magnets and such. Right, so this lines up with your interfacing, and then we just need to draw it. So I'm going to fold it there, like that, and then I'm going to fold it there, like that, and that's where it's going. So I'm going to take the little backing piece and stick it on my stabilizer and make some holes like that. Then it's not really see-through, but I'm going to line this up like that, and then grab my handy dandy hole puncher. In fact, I can probably punch these holes first, right? Because they are now going to line up perfectly with that. Then I can put this on there like that, and then line it up again and make the holes through all the layers. This is the best way I can think to line it up. Oh, the other side didn't quite work as well as I thought, but it's left a mark where I can punch it, so I'm just going to do it again. There we go. Perfect. So we're going to go through the metal. The screws go through the metal, then through my stabilizer, then through the main part of the bag. Now, if yours is fabric, you might want to put some fray stopper here too. All right, and then this goes that way. And screw it on. Is that working? I think it is. Try the other side. Making sure it is going in. Sometimes this doesn't go as full as I'd want, but that is now connected. Yay! So I can now put that aside, not get rid of it, but put it aside. So we've done that. So now we're going to take our lining and our exterior, and I'm going to clip them together. Now the reason we're going to clip this specifically is because that is going to distort the fabric, so it's going to look like it doesn't reach the edge properly, but in fact it should, because they are the same size. So we need to add clips to pull the fabric, and it will look like it's contorted a little bit and it's, you know, got some issues, but it's because the height of this is like wrecking the flow, which is why I'm using clips. Pretty much. So in we go. Back to a joining stitch length. We're going to come down, needle down, pivot. Oh, I missed a little bit. Across the bottom. On an angle up. And up the edge. And back stitch. Yay! So now I'm going to take my zigzag scissors, oops, and drop something. Shocker. Okay, so I'm just going to cut off most of the excess of this flap. And I'm doing it with the zigzag scissors so that all my corners turn out really nicely. There we go. Now I can turn this out, and I assume I will be top stitching it. Push that out. Alright, so now I'm going to top stitch this once I get these corners out nicely, because that is not a nice pointy corner. So I'm just going to run my fingernails along the seam, and what that does is it pushes everything all the way out so that our corners are going to look crispy. Back up to a 4 stitch length for me. And then on that edge, I'm going to top stitch. So we're going to come down there. Along the bottom. Up the side. There we go. Beautiful. So now we need to install the twist lock, which is going here. Wait, we need to find the center. So the easiest way to find the center at this point is going to be with an alligator clip. And the reason I'm using that clip is because it's flatter, so that I can measure up and install this part. So that's going to go right there. Okay, so that's the bit I now have to cut out. I've drawn on it with pen. I have no regrets. I lined it up and I double checked. So I'm going to cut just outside of that line. And I'm still got the blade facing up. I find it's easier to work with up than down. And I'm pushing away from myself, but I'm doing it slowly so that there's no fear I'll cut my finger. If you're worried, you can grab behind and do it this way. Another option is now that I'm in, I can actually put the craft knife down and grab some small scissors. They'll need to be small so that you can definitely get in. But the small scissors also look like they're going to work. These are $4 Bunnings scissors, but you can go and spend like decent money on really good scissors if you'd prefer. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I am going to say that these $4 Bunnings scissors are very sharp. They do good. All right, so I'm going to put that. See, I still missed a bit. This is, me and twist locks are never really friends, by the way. So this is just not quite big enough for the hole. I knew that was going to happen. It always happens. So I have to cut slightly bigger. Now, this is where one of those things where you can just kind of push it and make it bigger would be super handy. So I'm just cutting around the whole edge like a tiny bit to make the hole bigger. You want to do it in little steps so that you don't make it too big. Oh, there we go. And then I'm going to push this side onto the back. Ta-da! That's pretty cool. However, I'm probably a little bit worried that's not going to stay properly. I might need to squish it some more. But it's in. I will deal with it being stronger later. That's fine. Okay. So now that's that one done. So we've done this one. We're then going to grab our main body piece again. And again, we're going to tidy up all the bits going on. And then I want to measure and attach our little D-rings. So to the front edge, or the back edge, sorry, where the zipper pocket is. I'm using a ruler to measure it out because that's just the easiest way. There and there. Done. All right. So I'm just going to stitch them in place. I'm just doing this within the seam allowance. It's just going to be easier than trying to deal with them later. So if I stitch them in place, they have no chance of moving, and I like that, because I hate it when things move on me. Right. Trim off those tails. All of them. There we go. Right, so now we are going to, what are we doing now? We are going to align the side edges like this. Let me just read this. Making sure the base seam lines up properly. Yep, no problem. So we're just going to stitch all the way down the side. I'm going to clip it first. You want to make sure that these two seams line up schmick on perfectly. Like that. So you can even start with that seam, since that one's the most important one. Line it up, clip it down. Add some other clips to kind of hold it in place. Alright. So, we're going to stitch. I'm going to go back to joining stitch length. I'm going to stitch down the side. And then we're going to square off the bottoms. Yep. Move that tail out of the way. I'm going down one side and up the other, but you can always go top to bottom on both sides. It won't really matter. Whatever makes you happy. Trim that off. Alright, so now from the bottom corner, we're going to flatten the base back down. Like this. I just want to make sure that that is sitting right where I want it to. Open that out. We want to make sure that this line is lining up with the center point here. Otherwise your base is going to look crooked. So what I'm doing is I'm squishing it down, but I'm making sure that that is going to be right in the center. Because if you do it kind of off center like this, you're going to have a really wonky bag, and we don't want that. So, push it out like that, down like that, and that looks about right. So I'm going to add some clips to just kind of hold it while I do the other end. So, I'm pushing on the two side seams. We also want to make sure that this opens up, because it'll be easier to stitch. So again, pushing that down, pushing that down. Oh, so cute. Alright, and then we're just going to stitch it. Excellent. I think that's it then. Perfect. So again, we're going to stitch it down. I'm opening that seam out. And then once I'm happy, I can actually cut all that excess off. But I just want to make sure, I want to look in there, make sure I've stitched it properly. And then I can take my scissors and cut off that bit like that. Because this part is no longer needed. Oh, look at that. Love it. All right. We're going to now take our flap and line it up. So I'm going to roll it like this so it fits inside the bag. And then, actually, and I need to find the center point here. Because again, we always need the center of everything. Because it's just easy. Remember how I did that center? Because I was like, we're going to need it later. Now's that later time. I'm going to fold it this way so it fits in. And then line up those two center points so that my flap will be perfectly even. And then clip along there like that. And then out this way. Done. Okay, we can, I'm just going to leave that. It does say to base it down, but I can just leave it. It'll be fine. So let's move on to our lining. So they are asking for the next zipper pocket facing. So we're going to do another zipper pocket. And we're going to do that on the main lining pieces. Don't need both of them, so that's all right. We just need to grab one for the minute. So I've interfaced this piece, but again, I have not interfaced my facing. Say that 10 times fast. Right, we want our zipper tape to be the same size as the facing. Like that. Pop that aside. And then for the other zipper, I think I'm actually going to use a different color because it's going to look cool. In fact, I almost want to use this for the inside. Maybe I will use that for the inside. I'll use that other zipper tape some other time. Because it's got the pink and the gold going on. And even though I'm using black zipper pulls, it's going to perfectly match with this fabric. Put that in the tub. Alright, so I'm going to crack this, put the zipper on, and now this is exactly the same three colours as the lining. If that's not a coincidence, I don't know what is. Please know I did not plan this out, or I wouldn't have cut the other zip. Right, zipper's on. We need to draw on our facing piece. So I need my little template again. Again, you don't have to have these templates. They're just like an added ease. Makes things a little bit quicker. I don't really have to measure anything then. Okay, so I need a ruler like that. Wait, we need to find the center. 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 May as well do this one while we're thinking of it, because I'm all about the centers. Like that. Use that one later, but we're going to need it, so I may as well do it. So now I'm going to line this up with that. Make sure that it's straight, which it is. And again, we're going to use these bigger clips to clip it down so that nothing moves. And then we're going to do the two long sides again, exactly like we did before. So stitch, back stitch, back stitch. Now these ones you can iron because it's lining. If you want to. Or you can still use the double-sided tape if you don't want to get up and go to your iron. You have options. Cut that jump stitch because it will make it easier later. You can't leave it there. Then again, we're going to fold it over. I'm going a bit faster with this one because you already saw me do all of this and the other one slowly and in depth. So again, you want to make sure there's decent triangles at your end. And then we'll go the other way. You can also do this with a rotary cutter if you prefer. If you've got like a board and stuff next to you, a rotary cutter would also work. So, finger press that up. Finger press this one down. Push it through. I'm going to attempt to have this whole thing finger pressed. It may or may not work out the way I want. It worked fine. So that is now down. So we just need our other two zipper pocket pieces, which are these ones here. So we're going to, again, lining right sides up, zipper right sides up, and just stitch it to the edge. And back stitch at the ends because we don't want this to come off. And then do the other side. Like this. So I'm stitching close to the edge of the zip so that we won't see the stitching when we put it underneath. Trim them off. I can go much faster now that you've already seen me do this. Right, line it up, grab this, lay it over the top, like so. Pull that back. I backstitch because I started on a black bit, so you're not going to see it anyway. Black stitching on black fabric is near impossible to see. Needle down. Now that I'm back here, I'm going to zip that up. I'm also going to trim that off because it's in my way. Needle down, pivot down. Back to the start, back stitch. Trim the tail off from earlier. Then you just want to shake it, let it fall down. Chop off that excess there. Like so. That can go in the bin, we don't need that bit. And then I'm just going to stitch the two sides because I imagine we're going to turn it through this pocket later on. So I'm just going to go to there and up this side. And then flip it and trim off those tails. Like so. And I'm going to zip it open for good measure because it'll be easy to turn through later. So I've left the bottom open. That's one piece done. Next, we've done all of that. Where are we up to? Card pocket piece. Okay, so that is this one. It's a little rectangle. Square, sorry, not rectangle. All right, so what does it want us to do? We need to fold down the edge like this and this side. So I'm going to fold down that raw edge and then put it together this way and stitch the sides. Like this. One side, make sure that they're folded down. Other side. And then turn through. Okay, yep. And then we're going to grab our other piece here and a big ruler. And we're going to go down. So again, there's the middle. And put this here, like this. And I'm going to top stitch those three edges and we're going to put a divider in the middle. Is that right? Oh no, we're just going to top stitch and then that's a little slip pocket. I want to top stitch around here to make sure that it stays down. I'm just a little bit worried it's gonna kind of flip up. So I'm just gonna top stitch it all the way around to stop such things happening. Just me and my paranoia, I'm okay with that. So now this won't flip up for any reason because I've physically stitched it down. Now I can line this up and attach it on. Excellent. There. And now I'm going to top stitch around the 3 edges. Needle down, pivot, across the bottom, pivot, up the side. There we go. I definitely feel better about that. So now you can put one in there and one behind there. So you can put 2 cards in your little pocket. Excellent. All right. Moving on, we need our what is this? Zipper divider tab. Let me just check what we're doing. Okay, yep, no, I see what's going on. Right, so we need this. And we need some more zip. And we need our divider pocket pieces. So there's 4 of these because there's 2 exterior and 2 lining. So you can make 2 of these a different fabric if you wish. I just need to know what size zipper I need for this bit. Where is it? Okay. There. That's our zipper piece. And then we want to put a zipper pull on here. Up like this. So I'm going to just kind of put it roughly in the middle. And then I want to put this on the end like this. Is that right? Fold it under and top stitch it down. So the other option is I can just put it right sides together. Now this one looks like it's wide enough for a size 3 zip, but I'm using size 5 zip, but it's still gonna work out fine because this will all still be in the seam allowance. So I'm not worried about cutting another piece because by the time we stitch it, it will still catch everything anyway. So don't worry too much about that. So I got my zipper tab on the end. Then it wants us to mark with something removable. I nearly grabbed my normal pen then. We don't want to do that. So I'm going to grab our removable pen, and then at the top, we're going to measure in like that. Same on this one. Although sometimes it's a bit hard to see. There we go. Right. So this goes to, I assume there. Let me have a look. Excellent. So we're going to put this one right sides down and line this seam up with one of the edge marks that we just did, like that. And then we can come across clipping it down like this. And then when we get to here, we're going to fold that down. I'm actually just going to fold it over. Oh, no, that won't work. I'm going to fold the zipper tape like that. Fold that bit down. There we go. Don't know why it was easy to do it right there, but it is. So that's what we want. And then I'm just going to grab one that I didn't draw on and add it on. One would assume, yes. So I'm just going to add it into the clips like this. Be very careful with this one that you don't move stuff. And then we're going to go all the way across. So we're going to stitch and back stitch and then over that zip. And then as I get closer to the zipper pull, I am going to just zip it slightly past where I am. Not too far, I don't want the zip to come off, that would be disastrous. But just to there, like that. And so now, one side of the zip is completely installed. And then we're going to top stitch. So we're going to pull this down. I'm going to top stitch the whole lot, all the way across, both angles. And back stitch. See that tiny little bit of difference on the zipper tape compared to the zipper tab doesn't matter when you stitch it down. So there was no need to fret. Right, let's do the same to the other side. So, lining up this part with that part, clip it. If you are having different fabrics, you should be drawing on the exterior to work all this out, by the way. But since all 4 of mine are the same, it didn't really matter for me. And then we're going to add this one on top, like this. Add it into the clips, like that. And then we're going to stitch up to and near, but not over the zipper. So now I'm going to zip it back the other way. And then I can probably just keep it attached. Oh no, because I've done it upside down. All right, we'll cut it off, and then we're going to pull both of these back, and then we're going to top stitch this down too. Oh, I can see what's happened. All right, so this kind of moved when I stitched it, which I thought it did, but you can never be sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to unpick this part, because here's a problem that can arise. It's no longer even. So I need to detach the zip along here. I need to unpick all of the zip so that it's fluid. And then I'm just going to pull it back until it lines up with the other side, like that. May not be the best method, but at least now my zipper is even, because one side was longer than the other, and that just will not do. Ta-da! Alright. So now what are we doing? We repeat the other side. I've done that. And then we're going to pull this down like this with the zipper facing up, and we're going to baste all of the sides. Needle down, pivot, go along the bottom, needle down, up side. We're just basting it. I can also cut off the extra zipper tab now. We don't need that anymore. We're good. Okay, I've done that. Now we're going to take our body lining pieces. with right sides together, we are then going to stitch your little corners. Did not see this coming. Very clever. Right, so we're going to stitch, back stitch. I'm going to chain stitch these since we've got to do 4. Bring this down, stitch, back stitch, chop off the first one and trim those tails so that they don't annoy me the whole time. Then we're going to grab this one, do the same thing. I love chain stitching. I do it as often as possible. And this is one of those times. Right, done and done. So now we've got this. So they're sitting up. We are going to take the bottom. I'm going to take this. And I'm going to take the one with the zipper because I want my zippers to go the same way. So by taking this one, I can see that both zippers are closing this way. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to just baste it to the bottom. Like that. Oh, and I just ran out of bobbin thread again. That was good timing. Weird timing, but good timing. All right, let me do another bobbin and then we'll just finish up. Is redone. Right, so now we're going to pin this to the side. Shocker, I know. So like that. And then up the side. So this is going to be our very cute little divider pocket. So instead of just stitching there, now I'm going to take this one and I'm going to add it in. I'm going to sew all of them at the same time. You can baste that in place if you're concerned, but I'm winging it and it's going to work out just fine. I'm sure of it. So there. I'm lining up the corners because the corners are fairly important, right? All should line up well. Might add an extra one up here. That one there, that one there. Then I just need to clip the bottom. See these tails? Get rid of them. They're annoying me. Oh, we're nearly finished, guys. Clip it down with lots of clips so it stays. And now I'm just going to stitch, making sure that this pocket does not get stitched because that's how we're getting in and out of it later. So I'm going to start here, stitch. Hopefully the back stitch will not cause a giant knot because it's new bobbin. I did try to make it so it's not too full. Alright, so we are nearly done. I'm going to turn this. Actually, no, I'm not. Am I going to turn it out the right way or not? I don't know which way I want to do this. No, I am. Alright. So I'm going to turn that out. Like that. And then I'm going to put the zipper pocket on the back panel where my flap is. I'm going to first line up that side and then add a clip. And then I'm going to come and do the other side. I'm going to open out that seam and add a clip there. Then I can add in this back piece. Long like this, and it should all just kind of fall into place for you. And then I'm going to clip the front into place like so, and then we're just going to stitch around here. turn it through, top stitch here, make the thing close. We've got like 3 seams left, guys. So this is the first one. So I'm gonna go up and under. We're gonna stitch, we're gonna back stitch. And I'm just gonna bring it around slowly. Ugh. Oh, hold on. Something just caught. Okay. Something got caught, so I had to disconnect and start again. And I just lost my bobbin and my top thread. This, I reckon, would be easier to do on the cylinder arm machine, just quietly. So if you're on a domestic, raise it up on some books and sew it this way. So from here around instead of backwards like this. You can do it this way, but I do think the other way would be quicker and easier for you. Just a thought. You obviously don't have to listen to me, but I reckon the other way would be easier. And over. And back stitch when you get back to the start. Oh, it's looking fabulous. All right, so now we want to go into our zipper pocket. And the first thing I'm going to do is pull out the flap. Like that. And then I'm just going to maneuver the bag through the zipper pocket. So the easiest way for me is I like to scrunch it. And I know people will be horrified. But it's going to have to get scrunched anyway. Might as well do it now. So you scrunch it and you try and get as much of that bag into there as possible. And then I'm just going to slowly start tugging at bits. Now when I say tugging, you don't want to rip with all your might. It will break. Hello, Knuckles. My dog is literally dancing in front of me. What's up? Alright, bag's nearly through. So now that I've got it that far, I'm going to stick my hand into the zipper pocket so that I can push all of this out. What's wrong, puppy? You're just talking to me, are ya? Hello. He's so cute. What's up? Do you want to go outside? Right, I have to let the dog out. He would like to go outside. So I am going to turn this in a minute. He's outside. Crisis averted. Right, so now we just push all the innards of the bag back into the bag. And I'm going to stitch my zipper panel, pocket, sorry, not panel, close. So I'm just going to tuck in those corners and then pinch it, and I'm just going to sew it. If you're new to sewing, you might want to use some clips for that to help hold it in place. But I've played this game enough now. Alright, so I'm going to tuck that zipper pocket in and I'll push out the corners with my fingers. Alright, and then all that's left to do is to top stitch. Although you don't even necessarily need to top stitch. As long as you get like a nice crease going, I reckon I could get away without top stitching. But do I want to? That's the real question here. Up to a size 4 stitch length. I'm going to move that. I think we'll top stitch. Do they top stitch in the pattern? I assume so. Yes. Yes, we do. Alright. So I'm going to start here. I need to lift up that because I can't get under. Now, if you're new to top stitching, do it at 1/4 inch. It'll be easier for you. If you're more advanced, do it at 1/8 of an inch. The reason that 1/8 of an inch is more advanced is because you're more likely to slip off the edge. And we don't actually want that. Needle down. I adjust the bag. They put pins in it to hold it in place while they do this in the pattern, but since I have vinyl, no pins allowed, and having too many wonder clips I think would get in my way. So we're just gonna do it this way. So I'm making sure that the lining is pulled down. Also be mindful of your zipper pull on the back to make sure it's not getting under your needle, because that's also not what we want. I'm nearly back to the start because it's a nice little bag. I'm just bringing it around this whole time, making sure that nothing metal is getting under my needle, because I would hate to break something. And then I am back to the start and back stitch. Just a little bit of back stitching. If you're worried that the back stitching is going to show too much, you can also pull it through and tie it off. That is another option that you have. And your bag is done. How fabulous is this? Put that on, twist it shut. Then this sits perfectly for your wristlet strap on there. Or you can put this strap. I think I like this strap better. I really like the chain thing. It's very cool. There you go, guys. The bag is done. I hope you had fun making it. It is adorable. So there you go. All right, guys. I'll see you next time.